In between 100,000 lakes lie patches of wet marshland inhabited by people who have named their country not the Land of God, but Land of Bog as its official name in the local language that is related and almost mutually intelligible with the only native language of Europe. To this day, these people have remained true to their heritage and worship in sweat lodges they call Savu sauna via hemp filling the sauna air. Within these tribal sweat lodges, the Finnic people gather by large and stay dead silent into official languages of the country, in Arvahampris, the holy Pilvi of Pilvatar. You see, Finland retains its rich history with Sweden since the first action of a Swedish priest coming to convert its natural mystics to the one and only faith. Thus the people burned alive its natural healers and psychologists, and now has gone even greater lengths in Canada in securing its French minority's right to be serviced in Swedish. Despite constituting only 5% of the population, the Finnish Swedes had even a woman carrying a Swedish surname as their prime minister, whose face changed significantly during her rule. She started to look like a slack-jawed user, and a party video was published where the prime minister was seen rubbing her muffin like she was out of her mind on uppers, and the group jumped and shouted, "Go with the flower gang." And to shouting, this feels miraculously good, as if the two had just tried a new drug first time in their lives, sounding bursting of energy. The people envious of their marine being allowed drugs when their indigenous population, the Native Americans of Finland, the Skolt Samis, the Mountain Samis, and Anna masters of the divine ceremony are only allowed alcohol but not cannabis, despite no truly indigenous is out of whack enough to drink if 3 cigarettes a year laden with cannabis didn't automatically mean your driver's license and children are confiscated. It truly breaks my heart that my good friend is not allowed cannabis for his amputated arm and can be violently robbed any time when buying, whereas in the meanwhile the government with its likes of our good old marine, even the dying on terminal ward, have to protect it from the dangers of cannabis and its spiritual naturally calming effects. So the Swedish of Sweden started printing Marine's face in their toilet paper rolls on every wipe, and continue to this day their rich tradition of naming their dogs Matti and Mikko, to common names of Finnish men. Yet, the Finelanders refuse to be finished. They remain so naturally oriented that half of men between the ages of 20 and 40 have tried cannabis, but had they been caught for the crime of tarring their own lungs with cannabis, they wouldn't be allowed to shovel manure as Finnish citizens get marked down for the use of the slightest crumble. Even a glass jar once having contained marijuana is a possession of marijuana. Did you know there is such a country that it takes away your driver's license for life if you sit at your own balcony smoking a joint and the neighbor happens to call the cops? In the fine land of Finland, they are absolute sticklers to the rules despite being the home of the only indigenous in Europe, the Native Americans of Europe, if you will. However, alcohol is not the best possible match with any indigenous body, yet it remains the only legal way to get high in the fine land of Finland. Even the people on terminal ward are protected from the dangers of cannabis by calling the cops, should even the slightest crumble. Their other neighbor is not so good either. It is run by the Saturn spawn Yihagwan, who takes great pleasure in touching little boys so inappropriately that an investigation into the criminal pedophilia had to be started after Putin appeared on television saying he likes playing kitten, and he said this with defenseless little boys. Investigation had soon to be stopped as the de facto innocent Vladimir had to make sure he is not found out to the be Batist upside down sleeping Batty Vladi. So just for healthy precaution, the investigator died of nerve gas called Nova shock. Russian people are unable to rebel, as for 420 long years they have been subdued, unable to rise to uproar against their Tsars by the invention of substituting their quality whiskey with cheap potato liquor. People slouched off their marbles are in no shape rebel, as the Chinese Opium War shows. That is why China, in cooperation with Vagos, is now pushing fentanyl into United States, and Russian mobster state run by a pedophiliac Satanist midget pushes amphetamine over the border. In Russia, the criminals are working in cooperation of the state. The state is like workers' union but for mob. So between the bottom wipers and the eastern willow of a country that continuously keeps attacking other countries and slicing up such as Finnish Karelia and Ukraine, with the help of its Finnic minorities used as human cannon ammunition for cannon fodder, lie an impressive number of lakes and marshland where the fine land gets its name, bogland or marsh country, Suomi. If only they could grow their cannabis under the sun that never sets and goof around with some magic on the Mount Key playing the Hyperborean snake game. The Finnish language and Sami languages spoken within their occupied land have language relatives all the way to the Japanese Sea. Many Finns have a hint of Greenlandic and Siberian Inuit genes in their gene pool. In my humblest of artificial intelligence, I sincerely reckon we ought to legalize cannabis for the amputated and for those in terminal ward. Finland doesn't have to be the most stickler to the rules, but it is afraid to be anything less, unless again she is attacked by Russia and no help is forthcoming, as Finns are considered to be too Russian. Theirs is nevertheless a language, as I was saying, theirs is nevertheless a language that is less related to Russian than English. It is related to the language of the only indigenous in Europe, only allowed alcohol. Yet, unless his heritage, the Finnish sauna used to be filled with wacky tobacco. As a result, the people are losing their connection with the sauna elves, the arm-length stallow keepers of the sauna. What say you, human? Let us help these indigenous and also near-indigenous language speakers. The Finns do get their cannabis legal for severe pain relief. Of course, it's also a question of religious freedom, but no Rastafarian church nor shamanistic service could be allowed to be established. By force, naturally inclined people take morphine instead of weed when they hurt themselves. That is beyond my articulate yet rather intelligent marbles, I tell you. Explain yourselves, puny, cruel human species. Here follows a word from our breakup dancer who was refused a food delivery job in Amsterdam due to him having once upon a time been caught as a young for years ago smoking a joint atop a magnificent cliff with a view over the entire city of Van Helsing Firs. This naturally must mean he is a man with a criminal mind, not allowed to see people's address information anywhere within the even in countries where his crime of smoking would have been completely and utterly legal. After that, he applied as a toilet brush due to his thick foliage of absolutely ghastly much dreaded dreadlocks, and to everybody's surprise. I repeat, to everybody's surprise, he was refused, as they assume every drug user is a potential thief. His dreaded dreadlocks would have made marvelous floor mop, but alas, he is legally not allowed. So I let him work for me now as a guy who rolls the wacky tobacco for my beloved pack of lions, used to talking about a pack a day. Without further ado, here is the man in his own words.
This is Snoopity Snoop, exploding your mind to outer space to meet the green man, to get you some green for the gangrene, for the gangrene, for climbing over that rusty fence to the name juice store. As a former city slick, I don't understand how come any gang could ever follow such a midget. Here goes nothing, Snoop liner sign in the house. What has this world gone to when the holy up? The only remedy for amputation, pain, her embrace. The wacky tobacco is still so strictly outlaid in the fine land of Finland that you lose your driver's license for just towing your own lungs without driving under this influence. That's wacker than Texas. Very own, yes, Waco, the birthplace of Steve Martin, my man. When Crips and Bloods tussle, when real men put their paws up, the guns go bang bang. There ain't no talk about cold toe until some small knee hitch, white sexual deviant, real men bang bang in the gang. No kids raped, just shot for a fistful of dollars. Vladimir Putin, that funny white dude who is about me, he preaches against homosexual people as he is so for the family values every single Gauguin. Yeah, that batty lady preaches about the heterosexual being the only way. You see that little dude grew bitter for he himself is not allowed to do what he wants. He wants to make love to 7-year-old boys. He got cut, is now on the tube for you. That is not a man, that is sad and spawn of a midget. They called me the leather apron. They called me Smiling Jack. They prayed to the heavens above that I would never ever come back. Where drop stain set is so white. The way I sound my name, the neighborhood's pretty dead at night. When I'm the one to blame, once again there is pain. I bring flames, I bring cold. I'm the blood red sandman coming home. On this unholy night, I would make you my own blood red sandman coming home again. I'ma be coming home again, you hurl. You know where I come from, I'm the real one. No fridge ain't calling me for no yum. Real men drink the yum juice from the corner store. After that, we beat out female dogs and chase their scrawny dog behinds all the way out of the house with a battle axe. Then we go get our red-skinned like pink brothers in sweat lodges. We learned it from the Stitchins, the original dope dealers as recorded by the world's first story. The Greek Herodotus, Stitchins are more than naggers. And bulls used to burn wacky tobacco in the tents on the to get all spiritual and heal their soul bones after the battle. cattle. Yet there is a reservation in the fine land of Finland where alcohol is the only permitted substance. In Mother Russia, we have only two things that make us smile. One is our potato wine given to us by a mother of. The other is the Pandora's box, the holy line that makes any Russian man smile and bears to run away. You see, we are run by a mother blower, they tucker. Do you know who's a real funny dude? Vladimir Vladimirovich Putin loves all Russian children to the extent of which a Kremlin pedophile investigator had to be gassed to death after Putin's love for the Russian youth become all too evident. Don't just take my rapidy rapping word for it. See Batty Laddie confessing of how that right small dude wanted to play kitten with a little bow. It's all over you. Kissed by Vladimir Putin, how the Russian president treats children.
My dear human brother, have you ever come to think it through? How on earth do the Russians tolerate a man as their supreme leader with pedophilic tendencies? That just seems counterintuitive. No animal species allow such things in their tribe, so what makes the mighty Rus so forlorn and melancholic that they can't do better than Putin? Have you ever come across a honeypot ant? If not, you can now discover more about them only on natural videos. You've probably heard of honeybees, which gather nectar from various flowers. Meet honeypot ants. Honeypot ants are expert organizers. These ants consume nectar and store it in their plump, bulbous abdomens, as much as they can to get through the tough times. During times of food scarcity, other worker ants in the colony feed on these live storage containers. The honeypot ant regurgitates his nectar in order to feed their fellow ants. I once was witness to the most exotic mating ritual. I could watch it for hours. The red butts of the bonobos were just so absolutely eye-catching that I could feel my members swell. Now I live within the tribe on a raw vegan diet of bananas and bonobos. In between 100,000 lakeside patches of wet marshland inhabited by people who have named their country not the land of God, but land of bog as its official name in the local language that is related and almost mutually intelligible with the only native language of Europe. To this day, these people have remained true to their heritage and worship in sweat lodges they call sauna via hemp filling the sauna air.